Yeah.
Welcome to the Meristem Minute. Today, we have Shane Brockhoff here to talk to us about new technology that Meristem is launching. We're launching a technology called MaxStax Corn. So, Shane, you have a huge soil biology background. Share with us the components of MaxStax Corn and what it means to the industry.
Yeah. So it's incredibly exciting to see where we're at and where we've come on this space. But really what's happened is the EPA just recently has approved a lot of these new biopesticides that control diseases and insects and nematodes below the ground. Now they're all biological, so just like everything else, through our hopper throttle system, it's going to go through our biocaps. We have to be able to keep these things alive to deliver them to our seeds, and then eventually, obviously they live and grow with the roots. So to protect our root balls below ground, with these pesticides, they have to be live, and that's really the key to the kingdom here. But it's exciting. So we have launched brand new last year. We kind of pre-launched Gardex. That was the first, corn bio insecticide that we got EPA approval on. But here recently, we had approval for the bioinsecticide Guard M, which is a broad spectrum insecticide for below ground protection, as well as a brand new nematicide, which helps control, has control label on basically all corn nematode pests below the ground. So, and then we're going to be layering on a really strong, powerful biofungicide called Pre-Fight, which we launched on soybeans last year and had really good success with. But that Pre-Fight is really a broad spectrum fungicide, controls numerous diseases below the ground. So when you think about Guard M, there's a lot of pests, wireworms, seed corn maggots that want to attack those seeds and early roots below the ground. So we're just adding that on top of the Guard X, and basically all seed corn has protection as well. So we'll talk through all these individual components. We'll talk more about Guard M as we go through here, but Guard X, like I said, was the very first one that was launched last year. Like I said, it's an EPA. It's very similar. If you're familiar with hopper throttle, the Revline hopper throttle concept with Terrasem is a very similar type technology. It's a pink methyl. But again, that technology is sensitive. So you could not put it through a liquid seed treater, liquid injection system. The biology wants to die very quickly. So you have to kind of treat it with kid gloves. And the biocapsule will be the primary method to deliver this stuff in a live and functional form to the root zone. But the way this technology works, like corn rootworm larvae, they can't see below the ground. They don't really have eyes. They don't see the corn root and find their food source. The way it works, it actually blocks the signal that attracts them. So it's actually a carbon dioxide based signal. This Guard X kind of builds a biodefense film around the root that blocks that signal so the larvae cannot find their food source. If they can't find the corn root, which is their food source, then they can't essentially complete their life cycle and die. So really the only way that a rootworm larvae will find the root is through root interception. If the root intercepts them, they can take a bite, of that root. And pair this with Terrasem, which is the root biostimulant. We really see if a rootworm larvae does happen to take a bite, the root intercepts it. See a lot of root regeneration power. So right at that scarring point, a lot of proliferation of more root hairs, more fine root hairs, and more root mass right there at the scarring point. So incredibly powerful technology and what it's bringing to the market. Pre-fight, just to kind of move on through these biodefense mechanisms. Like I said, is a broad spectrum biofungicide. So it controls, if you look at the label on this, there are a lot of pests, fungal pests that pre-fight helps control. Again, this is a bacteria that lives and grows with that root. So you get season-long bio control of this pesticide, where a lot of seed treatments, at best, you'll last 2 or 3 weeks. So this is something you get a lot more broad spectrum control, a lot longer control throughout the year. But really, the main things we're looking at, we know this detracts from a lot of yield in the U.S. Corn Belt, is these crown rots and stem rots, this lower stem rot focus. So keeping that crown healthy and avoid that shutdown of the xylem and phloem late season when your plants are stressed through grain fill. That's when these early season crown rot infections take over. And you'll see a lot of times you'll get, we had a big issue in the northern Corn Belt and the western Corn Belt last year with crown rots because they really don't have a great way to protect these plants early on other than liquid seed treatments. And again, that at best they're a 2 or 3 week protection where this is more of a season long focus. So this is exclusive to Meristem. We're really excited to add it to this corn lineup.
This is extremely exciting. I mean, I think crown rot influences so much in that plant that it even triggers or influences late season disease, whether that plant's healthy or not. And so the amount of tar spot that I see come in when there's crown rot is so enhanced versus when we have that really robust, healthy crown in that plant.
Yeah, if you can't move things from the roots to the shoots efficiently all season long, you're just going to set yourself up for other issues, and not always just related to yield. Like the plant is going to be more sensitive to any stress, whether it's disease or late season drought, late season ponding, water issues. So keeping that crown healthy early in all seasons important. Guard C. So actually, if you look at land grant universities, the number one disease, nematodes aren't really a disease, but they're not an insect either in the phylum Nematoda. But the number one disease detractor from yield, according to land grant universities, is corn nematodes. So they're on basically every acre in the U.S. Corn Belt. They're kind of hidden yield suckers. A lot of times it might be 5, 6, 7 bushels. You don't know what they're taking, but they do detract a lot of yield on basically every acre in the United States. And we don't have a good way to control them. There's really no real good technology. There was a new technology that was going to come out about 5, 6, 7 years ago, but it had some issues as far as toxicity to humans and was causing some rashes. So we're pretty excited about Guard C and what this brings to the corn market. Again, it's a live biology. It's a fungal chitosan. What it kind of does is spurs the root zone to produce more of this enzyme called chitinase, and chitinase actually dissolves chitin. And nematodes, their exoskeletons are made up of the component called chitin. And if you can dissolve that exoskeleton and reduce their ability to pierce and suck on the root, you add yield, right? Or you protect more yield. So it's a really cool technology. And if you're looking at the screen, you can definitely read all the information on them. But really excited to add this because a lot of times, like I said, this is people don't even know they're losing yield to nematodes, but they are very prone. Every handful of soil has thousands, if not millions, of nematodes in it, and some are beneficial, but a lot of them are detractors of yield in the corn. And I kind of started going into Guard M. So this is the last biodefense mechanisms that we're putting into the MaxStax Corn product. But again, this is a fungus, a naturally occurring fungi that we're going to be ramping up right there on the seed and the root zone. But basically what it does is it infects and overcomes the biology or the bodies of these insects, the larvae that are below ground, and basically turns them into mummies. So it's a really, really cool technology. But again, you have to be able to keep it alive. If this living biology, this fungus, is dead by the time it gets to the furrow, then what's the point? Then it's not going to work. So the biocapsule is a huge part of this whole story. So excited when you look at the overall portfolio, just a really broad. We know these things are yield robbers out there. We know these things are taking yield from the American farmer. So we're going to be able to tap into this brand new biodefense space and deliver it in the MaxStax component pail, along with a lot of the yield enhancement tools and nutrient unlockers that we've grown to know and love at the Revline Hopper Throttle Corn lineup.
Yeah, like you said, this is so exciting. We completely have the offensive portion of the pail, that
Right.
that zinc that's driving such amazing yields and absorption of the zinc because the placement of that, but then being able to enhance even more with those biodefenses. So we got the offensive side, we got the defensive side, and like you said, let's keep all the yield we can. So with that, thanks for the Meristem Minute.
Thank you.